Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, the name of this lesson is Don't Be Lukewarm. Fire up. Alright, because the Lord don't like a lukewarm person. Right? 1 minute you fire up, you're in this wood, you're doing your videos, and then the next minute, you're cool, you're going out cool, you're relaxing, you're settling on your leaves. Alright? Which the Lord do like that, and lukewarm is not something that doesn't taste good. They're not good. Alright, let's look up the meaning of it. Yeah, this is the meaning.
Lukewarm.
Lukewarm, it says, of liquid or food that should be hot, only moderately warm, tepid. Alright, as is the example at the bottom here, they drank bitter, lukewarm coffee. This is similar words. Let me see. This is paragraph 2. This is showing little enthusiasm. Let's see, enthusiastic, half-hearted, unresponsive, you're not in this wood, so you're not tasting good, you're not good, you're halfway hot, halfway cool. Alright, and if you're so, the Lord will spew you out because you're not good, you're not usable. Alright, that's why we had to stay in this truth, stay in the spirit. Alright, doing videos, staying in this wood. Alright, because if you're lukewarm, you're in a complacable mindset, and you're not doing, the word of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, the Lord will spew you out. Alright, which is a serious thing. Let's get that precept. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 16. Verse 16, it says, "So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, alright, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Alright, because thou sayest, I am rich, and increased with the goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art poor, thou art wretched, Slakia, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked." Alright? Okay, when you're caught up with the things of the world, you intend to forget Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Alright, so you can't be caught up with these things. Alright, let's get this. This 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 5. It says, "Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth." Alright, supposing that gain is godliness, from such withdraw thyself. Alright, withdraw thyself from these things, because these material things, alright, all these worldly things, women, all these things, could keep your focus off the Lord. Alright, let's jump down to verse 9. It says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covered after they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. All right. Okay, these things could pull you off of this truth, this faith. All right. You had to guard yourself from these things. Keep your focus on Yehovah Shem Yahushai. All right. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 30, verse 7. It says, "Two things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, Who is Yahweh? Or lest I be poor and steal, and take the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in vain." Right, and that's why the Lord have just enough for us, to survive. All right, because if you're too rich, you could forget the Lord. All right, or if you're too poor, you won't take the name of the Lord seriously. So that's that. That's it. Okay, so all these things could turn into stumbling blocks to get you out of this truth. So put your focus on Yahweh, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, do focus on this stuff. All right, let's get something. Luke. This is the book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 23. It says, "And he said to them all, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." All right, take up your burden, and follow the Lord. All right, verse 24. "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall be saved. For what is a man advantaged if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away?" All right, so you had to endure, keep pushing, Yahweh Shimei Shai's work. All right, keep pushing. All right, put not off from day to day. Let's get on the Apocrypha. First was actually Sirach of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 5, verse 7. Verse 7. It says, Make no tarrying to turn to your Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord, come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. And that's why, we can't put off from day to day, because you don't know when the Lord could come. All right, you don't know when the Lord could just pop up on in. That's why you always have to be in this word, because you want the Lord to find you doing the work. All right. Okay, I think let's do this. Put your hand. Put not your hand off the plow. Slack here. So I could slack here, let's get this other precept here. Revelation chapter 3, Verse 3, it says, Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast, and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, right, be on your watch, doing the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. Alright, that's why you always have to be in this wood. That's why, you can't be settling on your lees. Alright? Lukewarm. Let's get a precept. Let's get this. See? This is Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 12. It says, And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will not do good, neither will he do evil. Alright, so you can't settle on any lees, you can't be lukewarm, because the Lord, if you're lukewarm, you ain't doing, anything. The Lord will cast you out to this truth. Alright? So always, be in this word, do study, material stuff, alright, that could take you off this path, take you off this truth. Could be stumbling back to get you out to this truth. Alright, Okay, so I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa Abad Babal Shalom.